Oversimplification. 2. It's my second take on it. Something I didn't get to mention in that other video, part 1, when I was talking about, well, let me lay the foundation before I go into this. Oversimplification, I'm coming at this from 2 different angles. 2. No pun intended, this is part 2. Anyways, the first one is, when you're oversimplifying to a person, you run the risk of driving a wedge between you and whatever that person is talking about, or a wedge between you and them. You're failing to establish any common ground. Okay, why do I care about this? I'm just trying to tell them like it is. I'm trying to give them something constructive for what they could try to do. Whatever they may be trying to do. Had to finish my thought. I was trying to cut my own self off because I didn't even want to hear the rest of the statement, because it sounded like some bull jive. 1, you run the risk of them not even hearing anything that you're saying, because you didn't drove a wedge between whatever you think that you're trying to not identify with, I guess you could say identify with. Bear with me, I just woke up here. This is my second take on this. I did this other one in the car didn't realize I had the air blowing. Video was not audible. Well, you can hear my voice, but it had a whole bunch of blowback from the air in the car. So now I got to try to remember what I said about in that video to make this point. You run the risk of, like I said, putting like you're having opposing opinions and you're being pitted at one another. That's the first thing when you're thinking about oversimplification. The second angle that I'm coming at, which I don't think I discussed it as clear as what I'm getting ready to make here now in this video, you're just being a jerk. The second angle at it is, since nobody is walking in anybody else's shoes, and the only thing we can do for one another is try to understand where they're coming from, oversimplifying by saying that a person should be able to do just because you have done, is really almost like talking down. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to elaborate on that as well. When you're doing these broad strokes of just oversimplifying and you're not really offering any solutions, that's different if you're working with a person and telling them and trying to build them up and be encouraging and giving strength and saying, yeah, I overcame X, Y, Z. And you might not have to be it's a completely different thing. You might not have to be in the complete line of saying that you came from the exact same thing that they came from, that you're trying to relate to them as. But trying to build a person up, a person can be able to tell. But what I'm saying is these big, broad, sweeping strokes, anybody can do it. The sky's the limit. All you need is wind beneath your wings and you can fly. So basically you telling me if I flap my arms fast enough, I'll be able to take flight like a hummingbird and fly? No, I don't think so. Sounds to me like that old just think positive and you'll be able to do. I don't believe in that crap. Whole bunch of times that I was stared right in the face of negative, and I just thought positive, and no, it didn't go away. What it required me to do is push that negative to the side so I could continue on my so-called positive thinking actions, putting my thoughts into actions so I could get around that roadblock. But just sitting there staring negativity in the face and thinking positive didn't work. So I'm going to recap on this whole oversimplifying thing. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. No, not anybody can do whatever it is that you're talking about. There's the reason. It's a reason why it's criteria and there's steps to doing certain things. And the first thing that anybody has to do to get through their head is determine on if it's even something that you want to do. That's the first step. Then it's putting that thought into action. Like I said in that other video, when I was talking about the awesomeness of being a parent. Being a parent, never a hindrance to me because it was something that I wanted. Excuse me. So anytime that those duties called, which was 24 hours a day, because that's what being a parent is about. You don't get no off days. I had a loyalty to being a parent. There was things that I pursued before having a married life, being a parent, that I had to put on the sideline because I couldn't pursue that equally as I could in being a parent. See, this is what that person to tell you with that put the wind beneath your wings and you could fly. That oversimplification of other people have done it with a whole lot less. Yeah, you don't know the sacrifices they made either. You don't know what sacrifices I may or may not be willing to make. So let's not oversimplify. Let's not be a jerk. Like I said before in that other video, the best thing that you can give me is a listening ear. Better than gold. Oh, you give me some advice on top of that? If I'm looking for advice. You give me some advice on top of that? We talking better than platinum. What you give people is not always of a monetary value. And to stand on topic of this video about this oversimplification of, anybody could do it. Yeah, if you're really coming with that positive stroke of trying to build somebody up, that statement and just, anybody could do, ain't no excuse, blah, blah, blah. It goes right back to like I was saying in that other video when I was talking about the one relative talking to another relative that had a health diagnosis. And was like, why don't you just give up XYZ? If that was me, I would have been done gave that up. You couldn't tell me different. I would have been done cleaned this up and got my life, blah, 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 and so forth and so forth. And we're looking at this person like, are you crazy? I can look right off the bat with you. It's 3 or 4 things that seem really easy that we don't understand how come you don't give up and you're really in the same situation and you've yet to give them up. Get mad if somebody tell you about it. Oversimplification. That's where that wedge came from that I was just talking about. You're not pumping anybody up. Oh, I ain't about pumping anybody up. I'm about being real. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Because when somebody is talking to you, you want that same empathy and that trying to come down on a level to be relatable. And that's what it's all about. Given my last example, so we can be clear on drawing these lines with this oversimplification and on what works and what doesn't work. Completely different thought process. I run into a person up at the bank. We're talking. I'm talking about how I have my own business. This person is talking about how they want to have a business and I got this and that and the other going. And I'm encouraging them. Oh, you can do it. I did it. All it takes is, I'm establishing a common ground there. I don't consider that oversimplifying. I encourage that as building up. And sometimes I think people think, I'm really going out on a ledge here because I really don't think that they're thinking, but try to leave that window open, that crack in the window open for people that try to squeeze through with this excuse. Oh, I was just trying to encourage too. Were you? Imagine that same scenario that I'm sitting up here talking about. Right? That person I done ran, like I said, this is a fabricated example. That person that I done ran into in the bank that was talking about opening the business, I got a business. Imagine it coming across this way. You ain't opened no business yet? That's easy. Anybody can do that. I know this person up over here, man, they ain't got half the thought process you got. They got it and been up and running for 5 years. See the difference in the way that sounds? Yet you have people that tell that the same scenario that second scenario that I just stated was like, what? I was just doing the best stuff for them. Oh yeah, really? It really kind of came off belittling. That's what I'm talking about with this oversimplification. Just because you think that you have an inkling of what it takes or what you think that it takes to do whatever it is that you're talking to somebody about or climbing up out of some hole or to be better. It's not level. It's not a level playing field across the board. People are coming from different walks in life. People are wrestling with different things. Yeah, you have to start somewhere. But if you aren't encouraging, then what are you doing? How would you receive that information? Trying to think before I close out this video so I don't have to have a part 3 to it. If there's anything else I want to add to this video. I really think not. I think I really came back and was able to double down on what I'm talking about this oversimplifying when you're talking to people and how you have to be mindful of that. Because, again, to recap, you can either drive a wedge between you and whoever it is that you're trying to talk to, or two, it can just come off belittling. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, with both of them still put you on the opposing side of the fence. And that's the reason why I'm talking about this. Because, not everybody receives things the same. Not everybody takes the same approach in doing what it is that they have to do. And to go back to that example of me talking about being a parent, there were things which I know I wanted to pursue and do beforehand that were off the table once I became a parent. Oh, Ryan, you could have sacrificed. I know people that's parents and they still did X, Y, Z, and they went on. Yeah, but not trying to judge, but what type of quality of a parent were they? I don't want just the label. I actually wanted to be there. And not saying that it can't be done. But I know what I'm willing to go on and put on my plate before doing what I'm doing. And it's not to rest on the excuse of just being a parent. I knew what I was doing when I chose being a parent. Loved it. Loved it. Loved seeing my child go from birth to adulthood. Loved it. Wouldn't take it back. Wouldn't want to put anything up before that. And that's another point. I got a lot of points that I'm making with this video. That's my point. That walk and that path was for me. I'm done with this video. Record one last video before it gets too dark up off in here. Now I got to turn on this old yellow light. Even though it's really a white light, but it comes all dim and orange in. As you know, I ain't adjusting nothing with these videos, putting it up as is. Stay encouraged, avoid being discouraged. I'm Ayin. Y'all have a good one.